Hey there, everybody. This is just going to be a short video of the playoffs of Quarantine Cup 41. I didn't record the free play part. I was just feeling a bit, I don't know. I didn't feel like making commentary for 2 hours, so my Quarantine Cup commentary is always kind of crappy anyway. So I thought I'd just do the playoffs, whether I made it or not. I do in fact look safe for making the playoffs and probably at the first seed unless Sam gets ahead of me here. So we should end up with, or we will be able to play in the playoffs this week. I'm just watching this game. There's only 7 minutes left in the free play, and Syrix is in contention for making the playoffs, so I figure we could watch this game. The board is a little interesting. There's not a lot of trashing or gains, but there's some. It's kind of weak versions of everything, but there's so many points that you're gonna, of course, build. Or at least that's part of the reason why you'll build. Overlord is Grave Robber is pretty nice. Overlord is Nobles is pretty nice. Wait, can Overlord do that? No. Grave Robber. Anyway, Overlord looks pretty good to me here. Just the flexibility of being in sometimes a bishop, sometimes treasury, sometimes Grave Robber looks nice. Draw is definitely tough here. Like I said, the game just lasts so long that person who does build and gets their deck into shape is going to win, but it takes some time to get there for sure. I think even against a deck that gets platinum and colony quickly, I think it still will probably lose to an engine or a more built up deck that can make use of more of the VP here, more of the gaining. Because there's effectively endless VP with Grave Robber and Bishop. It's not super easy to say empty the colonies here. So like Marshalk's buys right now, while not unreasonable, I think are just not going to pay off in the long game. I don't think there's any way for this deck to buy all 8 colonies, so they don't really have a way to end the game. And if you don't have a path to end the game on this board, you can't win. Because you can't get half the VP. It's not possible. You can even do the really cute. You can even do a kind of cute thing with Emporium, where you bishop it and then Grave Robber it back, and you get it's actually a little more money than doing this, or not money, a little more VP than doing it with gold. Only a point more, but still. Syrix buys a colony, which I don't particularly like. Again, to me, the game is very, very long. And so if you play it, maybe Syrix's deck is in good enough shape that it can do the colony fight and win it. I'm not sure, but you can get a 100% guaranteed win if you don't mess around with green cards. You just have to have a lot of nobles. I mean, if they get a bunch of the nobles, then it makes it much harder, but in any case, you can still delay greening for sure. I mean, at the very least, some Grave Robber stuff and Patrician stuff. I don't know. That's what it looks like to me, but maybe I'm wrong, and you can, in fact, empty the colonies quickly enough. I could certainly be wrong. I mean, the way they're playing it, they're of course going to be able to get them emptied when they both buy them. But Sam has a couple wind's coming in. So they're playing another game before the end here, so they'll probably pass me. In which case I'll move into second seed, which is also just fine. This is a real mucky game now. They've kind of dove into the junk here. I mean, they're just rolling, you know. Sirix is sitting here wondering if they can take I guess Province Colony. Obviously Province Colony is going to be safe. Whether you want to do it, I don't. But you're not going to lose. I don't think you're ever going to lose. They go double Province. I mean, so I mean, if you're deck tracking, I don't think the last two cards of Marshall's decks are Platina, so if you're deck tracking, it was safe, but that's not easy to do here. If you don't feel like doing it, so. Definitely doesn't really make sense for Marshall if they did get to 8 to skip. This is not much of Sirix's money, so the next turn's probably good. When Sirix gets this colony, it's going to be tough. So, not impossible. Marshall can still buy province, potentially, while bishoping something and get a colony. Because they are going to reshuffle, so they could draw into a nice hand if they get fortunate. There's another platinum, I think. Maybe not. I'm not sure, but I think if you stack the deck, then Marshall could still get colony here. I'm not totally sure. Obviously sad to find your. I guess Sirix really does need to. That's a bit odd. If you buy Duchy, then Marshall can't even take colony. Now Sirix loses. Whereas Duchy would have prevented that. I did miss Borrow also. Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of how that was played, but okay, so Sirix isn't going to make the playoffs this week, but we can go watch the other people who are in contention if they're. I don't think their games are on this server, but Sam's is. Sam's game won't matter for it'll matter for seeding, but that's about it. This board is a very sculptory board. I guess you can just get a lot of heralds pretty easily. And then some. I mean, you can get a lot of everything pretty easily. I don't really love Talisman, actually. But it's fine, I guess. it's sort of whatever to me, but this is hard to follow because Ginger doesn't have the hands shown. We'll just have to watch Sam's. But they both appear to be doing some stuff. That should be a sculptor, not a wayfarer. You should pretty much always spend your $5 hand. I mean, you can buy a counterfeit, but you should pretty much spend your $5 hands beyond a certain point on sculptors. This is a really rotten hand for Sam. I don't know how that happened, actually. Well, I don't know exactly what the deck contents look like, but second talisman I hate even more than the first talisman. I mean, there's always like 3-pile stuff, but I don't think it's that crazy good. I don't know what Ginger has an upgrade, right? It's so hard to tell what you should be doing or what these turns should look like for Ginger because of the, like, you should get rid of those coppers for sure. This province is probably losing, but if you keep drawing, maybe you'll win. I would like an upgrade for Sam, and then lots of the gainers, lots of sculptors. But we'll see what they go for. Like I would like an upgrade this turn. Maybe upgrade Herald. You can also do Herald Wayfarer, I guess, but yeah, I would like more gain in play, which means upgrade or sculptor. That seems considerably better to me, but I don't know why Ginger got a talisman that could have been a Herald, and they're not using it for the Herald or for the talisman trick aspect. Sam still can make a deck that can do a lot. Duchy gaining if needed, or cemetery gaining. But like right now is not doing a huge amount of that. Upgrade Wayfarer province looks okay to me. Or sculptor. Or maybe they really want to do the counterfeit stuff again. That's not bad. I don't hate it. But I don't hate Sam's deck at all. I would have played more gain and play. But it's not a bad deck by any stretch. If Ginger had I'm assuming that's just how I'm gonna pronounce it. They had a counterfeit. They could threaten some stuff here because they could probably get double province with really good draw. That's just backwards. Yeah, them taking Wayfarer at this point, unless you can get 3-pile, it doesn't help you. I don't think Sam would have a finish, though not terribly far away from one. You can probably get pretty close to Cemetery Wayfarer emptying. You sculpt a Wayfarer or a Cemetery one. I don't know if you have $24. Yeah, you probably do, right? If you counterfeits. You get the buys. You get buys exact. And whether you have the money. I'm not sure. You gotta be pretty close to it, right? Maybe you can do just Shantytown and provinces as a pile out too. That's only 6-9 to empty, plus you need Sam didn't go for the win this turn. I didn't count, but I would guess yeah. I mean, there was definitely a win there. Counterfeiting counterfeits. I think both ways worked. The cemetery one definitely worked because that was $24 already without counterfeiting counterfeits, so that was even less money than you could make. You just had to sculpt for one of. This is like, this would be scary if Ginger had gains, but it's not especially scary since they don't. It's obviously worse than just winning immediately, but Sam dudded too. That's super funny. And oh yeah, because the way just enough to pile. That's super funny. I again was not super in love with the play there, but it didn't matter for the the outcome wasn't going to change who made the final playoffs or anything. Was pretty. Actually, Ginger's deck was okay then, but when they started doing the provinces, it was gonna fall apart. All right. Okay, I know Minion Pawn is in a game, I guess. I can't see their game. I guess if Minion Pawn loses, we'll have a 3-way tie with 8. I'll have to figure out how that one is broken. I don't know what the head-to-head and 3-way ties rules aren't especially well constructed for that. So we gotta look. Maybe Minion Pawn will just win and then we won't have to figure it out. We can't spectate the game though because Minion Pawn. Okay. Let's see what the head. I don't really have a rule for 3. So the same number of games. They all play each other. I guess we can look at the Cyrus beat Cyrix. Cyrix beat Minion Pawn. This is gonna be exact. Okay, Minion Pawn lost to Cyrus. Cyrus beat. I'll give it. Okay, I'm gonna use that as a tiebreaker. That seems fair. Oh wait, if Foley wins, then Foley's just gonna be. Okay, never mind. There's no 3-way tie possibility. Okay, whoops. I guess me and Silly are fixed. No. Well, I gotta check. Minion, Pawn, Silly. They did not play, so we're just gonna hit. If that's the tie. All right, we have the pairings. Okay. There's a lack of buy, but otherwise some nice stuff. I mean, you can get by with scrap. LOL. We can do this action stuff for sure. Vassals and peddlers. It's a menagerie. I guess the 5-2 is not very good here. Oh, I can definitely. And I drew my church. I don't know. Do I do all coppers or do I do? There's probably estates in here. Okay. Well, this is still fine. Kind of funny. I think I'm gonna do it though. Just buy the peddler for 6. I'm not super clear on how to play this. To be honest. Plus buy is gonna be very challenging in some ways. Definitely like their menageries. They're cool. Wouldn't be bad to have a gold. I mean, somehow that or a bunch of vassals. Basically. I think the remake has probably outlived its usefulness. Because the silver's okay. I either get a gold or I get vassals, like Vassal Peddler. Let's build. I guess you can always go heavier on the vassals than the peddlers and be a little less robust, but I could get another scrap. Or I could have gotten another scrap at some point. Whether or not that's still worth it is a little bit questionable. Well, these are both actions, right? There's a bit of a how do you say it? There's a bit of an issue with the vassals of trying to you have too many of them. Sometimes it's hard to have safe place for enough of them. They're gonna go ahead and green. I only have the 2 silvers, right? It's like this is the thing, is if you bottom deck vassals. You can have issues. I have a silver and a province. I have to keep track of the just once you see the province, then it's okay. The churches can be an issue for sure. I'm gonna have well, can have a few different things. 13, 14, 15. So I have 2 provinces and a silver for non-action cards. I mean, the nice thing here is that Minion Pawn doesn't have $15 or anything like that, or $13 or anything like that. So eventually I can threaten province or double province. Does that give them 16? I don't know. I didn't count. I also don't know how realistic it is for them to draw it all. The fool's gold buys a fool's gold. They were at 10. It may be possible. I don't really have any other options as far as that goes. I need to be able to buy 1 province, so I need to at least have I guess the scrap plate already, or the horse, one or the other. Or now we can do it this way. We're gonna have to play the scrap. It'd actually be fine to leave the province on top. Because we're just going to see if they have they draw 16 or not. So now I'm just have a silver in deck. Oh, there's more provinces. There's a province and a silver. Scrap the peddler. That's a thing you can do. Or the church. Maybe the church gets them there. Isn't Province Duchy fine though? Or relatively? Well, I don't know what they have left in deck. Are there actions left in deck? I don't really have a winning line because I didn't never get the additional scrap. I mean, they can still Province Duchy and they're still probably fine. All I can do is double Duchy, which isn't especially nice. In fact, how do I need to mold this? And to get to get where I want to be. I mean, I assume they'll get to province. And if they just get to duchy, well, then I still have to get... See there, they've got a scrap on a peddler. They'll be fine. They didn't play church, but they'll still be fine. Surprised they didn't scrap a province, but... I kind of started reading Discord halfway through this game, and I probably should have thought more buys. So anyway, I will watch the final game of the playoffs, I guess, and then we'll call it a day. I guess I probably needed to get the gold. And just take provinces sooner. That or do add the third scrap relatively early, and then the building differences might end up quite a bit higher. But I didn't do either of those things, so GG to minion pawn. You kind of got the tempo lead on the greening there. All right. Alright, they've got an patron menagerie interaction. They don't have any true village, so you can't. I guess sacrifice plus groom is sort of villagey-ish. Maybe you can play a lot of terminals if you work at it. You definitely can build, of course, but you probably open groom, church. I don't know, there's a lot of different things to do. Exactly when you get the various pieces could be a little tough, but groom looks incredibly good. Sam's already grooming patrons, which I think is probably premature. At least I'm not super into it yet, but I would be willing to play with a second groom, even, I think. Even though there's some risk there, or some issues. The patron's just a little underwhelming. I think you for sure take a mana bank here when you can get it. Though you can get enough trashers to deal with the junk. So we'll see how Sam plays it, if he goes for skipping mana bank or just tries it. Because I mean, I guess you can just go really heavy church, goat herd, patron, menagerie is probably pretty appealing. Sam, I think I would buy a 3, so I would only do Copper Estate. Set aside. Gains are a little limited here, so I tend to think buying a 3 is better than setting aside another card with Church. On this board, at least. Sam does not agree. See if Sam falls Mountebank or just tries to clean up. Because the Mountebank. It'll be hard. Get a few coffers this turn. You can active, if they didn't trash, you can activate. I guess if you draw really luckily, you can also activate. I wouldn't have played that church yet. Not the church, sorry, the horse. But maybe it's fine. Groom, because Groom gains a horse, you actually, Groom sacrifice actually nets a little bit of village effect. It's very, very small amount of village effect. But you can transfer some of that from turn to turn here because of the patron. So that becomes a little better in that regard. But like once you have a sacrifice, when you play the Groom, and let's say you sacrifice the horse or whatever. It may cost you draw, right, for all those card plays, but you can get some kind of effect. And with Menagerie, you probably can make up the draw. So I would, I guess I'm not totally sure. I can see that being worth doing here, though. I'm not convinced by gold. Gold looks worse than like a mystic to me. If you're going that direction, well, actually, gold just looks worse than like a patron to me. If you're going, I mean, I guess if you think I'm definitely gonna ever have a deck that's any good at all, then the gold makes more sense, but I don't think that's actually true. I don't think that's necessarily true here. Between Goat and Goherd and Church. But like Sam clearly thinks, well, I mean, 1 gold again in this money Menagerie thing isn't unreasonable, but nobody has picked up Sacrifice yet, though, so that I do find. Normally, I'm not real big into working that hard for a village effect, but this board is in desperate need of a village. So I think it's probably worth it. All right, what happened? No one wants to try the sacrifice thing. Like, now this seems to be the point in the decks where you could do it. Every Grim sacrifice pair can let you gain a non, like, let's say you're trashing the horses, it can turn the Grims into not non-terminal exactly, but you can net out the actions and then be gaining something. Which seems pretty good here. Anyway, this looks really good for Sam. I don't know if I don't know what Minion Pawn's turn looked like, but I think Sam should be able to get more patrons, right? and really crank out the coffers. Nope. Doesn't do that. I would want to have more coffers before I started greening. Mystic for a goat herd now, I guess. They found it. Just go ahead and trash the other curse. Would not play the horse. I would just wish for whatever the last thing is and then gain another patron and maybe church the mountain bank and then church the mountain bank and the horse. I don't know what the last card is. Whatever that last card is, church it too. Because it's province. So Mystic for province, church, province, horse, mountain bank. Play patron. Play groom, gaining patron, or gaining menagerie. One of those things. The other thing the sacrifice gives you at the end, and multiple grooms, if you have multiple grooms, the other thing that gives you at the end is better VP options as far as if the provinces are just dead even. You can break those ties better with sacrifice and groom. Did Sam die? I don't know why leave the province on top. That is a little baffling to me. I don't get that play. I don't exactly know what he did, but it looks real weird to me. Like all around. Maybe I'm missing something. I could be missing something. Like they used a coffer, they just sort of strange. I would still, as minion pawn, I would add a groom. Sacrifice. One of. Do copper curse. I don't know why they did that. Like, you surely church multiple cards there. That was weird. I didn't like that, but whatever. Not setting aside coppers is like, okay, that kind of could be a thing, but. The curse doesn't go into your hand in time for mountebank. So, doesn't really. I mean, but setting aside doesn't affect that. The next hand was already. I mean, like, you can argue that you keep it out of the. But you still don't really want curses in the shuffle on the off chance of blocking. So. At least not I don't know. I wouldn't be convinced by it here even if there was a shuffle, but there wasn't, so I'm definitely not convinced by it. Now Sam ends the sacrifice. Which I like. You might as well top deck these. You could just trigger. I don't even know if you want to get the wish. Why is minion? Man, don't. What is that? What is that? Pfft. Not even good for him. I would have failed the wish intentionally. What are they poofing about? Boo. It wasn't even good. Or not clearly good to me. If I'm playing it, I'm failing the wish. I also think it's stupid for Sam to keep a curse. Which Sam kept a curse, right? I don't. It's like too fancy. Fancy. Try to be 3,000 IQ or something. Just trash the curse. Maybe he did and I missed it, but so Minion Pod didn't even buy province, which really you probably had to buy province there and just blow the coffers. I don't think you can afford to miss a province buy. Now Sam has 10 coffers you can't possibly win. Like, I mean, this turn for Sam is too good. You can't beat this now. So you can't. Minion Pawn can never buy province. Should play those patrons. You should activate that menagerie instead of doing it this way. So you can trash the curse. You don't need 4 coffers. Yeah, if you get in a wine merchant or a grave robber, you'd have threat. Oh, you're certainly not. I don't know. Maybe. I like just the not playing the patrons. Like, why? Why are you spinning the coffers? Why aren't you playing the patrons? I feel like that's happened more than once this game. What's happened now? Oh, Sam bought a province. Will Sam be able to afford the last province? Find out next time on. Is this just like working out your frustration by clicking cards? Congratulations, Sam, on yet another Quarantine Cup victory. Oh, it's Seize the Day. I forgot about Seize the Day. That's exciting. I hope Sam seizes the day on his final turn and then spends the coffers. I don't know if the mountebank skip did intrigue me a bit, but I was more interested in seeing sacrifice groom stuff. Anyway, congrats Sam on first, congrats Minion Pawn on second, congrats me and who is that? Who does Sam play? Silly, I believe. 14 on third place. Anyway, thanks everyone who came out and played and watched. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you have a good day, and I will catch you all later.